Hello, hello, Flosstube. My name is Ghandi, and this is a cross stitch channel where we talk about projects and materials and designs and everything related to cross stitch. So if you are new, welcome, and if you are already a subscriber, welcome again. I'm so glad you are here. And yeah, let's talk about the Stitchy week. This week I just realized that my stitch mania, it's actually monogamania. I've been stitching exclusively on Newcastle Bouquet, and I'm loving it so much. It's so pretty and I don't want to stitch in anything else. So yeah, I guess my mania, it's just one design, so I'm really happy about it. So yeah, I've been stitching all kind of different areas of my designs, because it's hard for me, at least for me, stay focused in one large project. I love to start new things. I have a lot of whips, so I always get distracted by different projects. So maintain my focus on one project is kind of hard. So I have to try to find fun ways to keep working on one project. And it's because I wanted. I mean, if I didn't want it, or if I weren't enjoying this, I stitch in something else. But I'm loving this so much that I need to keep stitching on it. But yeah, sometimes is I'm trying to play a little with the project and with myself, in the sense of having the motivation. So I've been stitching on the border and in the central motifs of the design. So yeah, I stitch something inside the motif, the design, and then stitch some flowers of the border. But yeah, I the first thing that I stitched was the butterfly that I love so much. It's so pretty, and it's really different from the original design. I'm using a conversion of flosses. So Teresa, there are just a few colors in her design, and some of them are DMC, but some of them are Wix dye works, and this one is classic color works. So I'm using just DMC, and I'm adapting the colors according to the motif. So in the case of the butterfly, I use instead of classic color works 233 glazed carrot, I use the equivalent or of a DMC 950, because I'm using CXC flosses instead of DMC. So again, it's not quite the same color. It's pretty similar, but it's kind of different. So you can see, because my fabric is pretty dark, you can see that even though I use this color, it looks like a light tan, but stitched look like almost white or off-white. So I'm using I use this color here for the butterfly, And some teachers ask me about my conversion. I'm using instead of the red, you know, the beautiful red in the design, which is a classic color wars 228. I'm using the equivalent of DMC 321, but in CXC. So yeah, this is my color. And instead of the Wix dye work Cayenne, I'm using a CXC 815, which is the color in DMC. So I will try to put the list of the colors that I'm using. They are almost similar but different. And in the butterfly I use this light color, but for the flowers this light color was too light for my taste. So instead of using this really light color, I changed it to try to be more like the design. So I changed it to another one, to this one. It's DMC 422. But yeah, and you see it's really dark here, but because my fabric is darker, it's almost it gets it looks lighter. So yeah, that happened with the lighter floss, which is this one. You see here is, I mean, it's a lovely, really light tan, but in the fabric it looks like an off-white. But yeah, I love it, I love it. So yeah, I will put my conversion so you can see what I'm using. And I'm changing, even with this flower I change 2 or 3 times the color because it was not exactly what I wanted. And yeah, I'm playing with my flosses, and I'm also playing a little bit with the stitches. I decided to change the cross stitch for the letters, and I'm going to use eyelets. So yeah, really happy. And they are also ways to keep me interested in my project. You know, keep it motivated, you know, changing things and finding ways to play with my projects. So yeah, I am really enjoying, and they are really easy to do, and they look so pretty. And I make a few tests here in the fabric. So you can see here there are Smyrnas, and here are the eyelets, and those are rice stitch, which are not an option. I repeat, they are not an option because, oh my god, they are so time consuming and floss consuming. So yeah, this was not an option for my for my letters. So I put a question in my Instagram. So almost everybody voted for the eyelet. So I decided to make the letters you know, with eyelets, and they look so pretty. And I'm stitching different motifs also to try the colors that I'm using, and if I need to change something, you know, change it. But I almost sure I'm going to keep using the same colors. They look so pretty. And I was thinking about this green color because it's really bright, you know, not like the color of the pattern, which is more dark. green. So I was afraid this color will look really bright in the design, but I love how it looks. Yes, it's lighter, but I think it gives the project a happy note, you know. So yeah, I like it very much. And this floss is a little variegated, so I'm stitching one cross at a time, so you can see the variegation of the color, and I'm loving it. And I mean, you can stitch with variegated color different ways, and every way it's okay. But yeah, it's depending on the effect that you want to achieve. So yeah, I'm really loving my green and the leaves and everything in this design. So I will continue my stitch mania with just one project and loving every moment. So yeah. And last week I dyed a piece of fabric, and I make a video in my Spanish channel. But you know, it's the same method that Priscilla and Chelsea use for their fabrics, you know, with coffee and tea, and then you bake your fabric. So it's the same method. I didn't change much. I just add to my water, besides the coffee and the tea, I add cinnamon sticks and vanilla. So you know, you can add many things. I also use sometimes hibiscus, and I was reading a friend who used red wine also, so you can achieve this reddish pinkish shade for your fabric. So yeah, you can play with the results. And also some stitcher asked me if the count on the fabric change with the process, and it changed a little. Definitely not change of count, because this is an Aida 16, so didn't change to an Aida 18. But yeah, the result, this is 1 inch and they are 17 squares. So yeah, it's a little smaller, the fabric, so you have to take that in consideration when you dye your fabric, because you're going to get a smaller piece of fabric. So not much, not you know, finish with a 40 count type of linen, but yeah, it's a little smaller. And so yeah, this is my fabric that I prepare for my a Quaker welcome. And sometimes stitchers ask me if they can stitch a sampler in, or a mirabilia, or you know, different projects in Aida, and of course you can stitch them, and it's not a lesser fabric, or you know, a bad fabric. It's wonderful fabric, so you can use Aida in almost everything. Sometimes with specialty stitches or 1/1, you struggle a little with Aida because of the construction of the fabric, but there are ways to change those, or adapt those specialty stitches, and you can recreate it in Aida. And in this type of sampler, which are just cross stitch, you are just fine with Aida. And this is the fabric that I'm going to use for this project. So yeah, go Aida. And every fabric is great, and every floss. I mean, this time that we are having all this challenge and all this you know, trouble, um, we need to find ways to make our hobby sustainable. Uh, we as Latin American teachers have many years trying to find different materials and different fabrics, and trying to look uh, um, options for flosses or for um, materials to stitch our projects, because we have that problem of to not always being able to get those materials. And right now it's a difficult situation all around the world. So we must, be brave and be creative and trying to find these other options, and try not to be so talking bad about different types of materials. Perhaps you want to stitch only on linen and with silks, but that is not always the case for many of us teachers. And it's not just a matter of cost, but it's a matter of taste. Sometimes we can stitch on Aida and we can love it, and some stitchers love Aida more than linen, or love DMC more than a silk thread, and it's not a bad thing. We are all stitchers, and it's the craftsmanship that we put in our projects that um, add the projects the value that they have. So yeah, we are here, to make this world a better place. And sometimes we can stitch with silks and sometimes we cannot, but the idea is to create these little treasures with our hands, with the materials that we have in hand. So yeah. Okay, let's keep stitching. I will continue making little motifs, and try to adapt my project with the materials that I have in hand, and also with all the errors and missed stitches, because that's another thing. Sometimes we make mistakes in our projects, and we feel so bad. And you can put one cross in the wrong place, but you make hundreds and hundreds of crosses just perfect. So sometimes, not just in the stitching area, but in our lives, we make little mistakes and we feel so bad for them, and you don't see all the picture. You are making beautiful things, and yeah, perhaps you can make mistakes, but that doesn't need to define you. So yeah, my basket, it's all over the place, and I love it because it's my basket, and full of stitches out of place, but yeah, they are perfect for me. So yeah, I will continue stitching in this gorgeous design, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.